video of the day. How many of you remember the 15-minute city theory? 15-minute city is all about controlling the population. 15 minutes to wherever you want to go, hospital, work, shopping, school, doctors, dentists, everything's 15 minutes. You no longer need a car, be it combustion or be it electric. That falls in nicely with Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, ulez. Basically charging you £12 every time you want to go to work, charging you £12 to go see your doctors, charging you £12 to go to your dentist, charging you £12 to go do your grocery shopping. It's dragging the country backwards. It could also apparently bring the 15-minute city back into play, which we haven't heard much about for quite a while. I'm going to show you a clip on GB News and tell me what you think. 15-minute city is not being pushed into the files of history. It could still very much be our future.
To arrange march to net zero has been shifted up a gear as London's failed Mayor Sadiq Khan plans to expand his hated ultra-low emission zone beyond central London and into the home counties. Unfortunately for Brits, Khan's climate scheme, which charges drivers whose vehicles are too old or polluting, has already had a devastating impact on some long-standing businesses, with the boss of the iconic furniture store, Heels, warning that the ulez obsession has turned streets into a ghost town. And as Khan's ulez madness creeps further outside London, the dystopian nightmare of 15-minute cities threatens to become a national reality. So Neil Oliver, we've got to be so wary about what's to come, because Khan, he knows how unpopular this is, but he doesn't care.
I know, it's the wrath of Khan. Sometimes it feels, I don't know, like efforts like Sadiq Khan's. His mission is to run London down, to annoy Londoners, and I suppose ultimately even to see to the destruction of business in London. It's hard to read it any other way. I say all the time, Dan, who do these people think they are? People like Sadiq Khan and the councillors in Oxford and the rest of it, and all across the piece, all these jumped up nabobs just inviting themselves to interfere in every aspect of people's lives. Who do they think they are? And net zero, it's all part of that bigger picture. You know, the 15-minute ghettos, the ulez schemes like that of Sadiq Khan's. It's a suicide note, and it's being written on behalf of millions, if not billions, of people who will die as a direct result. There's just no two ways about it. At least 80% of the energy that is consumed in the world comes from fossil fuels. And yet we're being coerced away from fossil fuels. Renewables don't offer an alternative, not at all. Nuclear is out as well because the Greens don't like nuclear. We need more energy, Dan, not less. Net zero is absolutely taking the population, the civilization of planet Earth, the civilizations of planet Earth backwards. I don't know, I read somewhere something like 3 billion people alive today use less electricity, have access to less electricity than that we depend upon to run a modern fridge freezer. You know, and if people don't have access to cheap, reliable, available energy, they live miserable lives. You deny the energy and the fertilizers and everything else that comes from fossil fuels that are the target of net zero, people will simply die. People will die of starvation. Climate change.
But yet Khan will say, oh no, you're going to die of pollution. That's been proven to be a total lie, a fallacy. He doesn't care. But the issue that so many of us have, Neil, is that when it comes to the march to net zero, when it comes to ulez, it feels like there's almost a one-party state. there's very little alternative, which is why you see people up and down the country resorting to civil disobedience over this stuff.
I don't understand why people behave. I really don't. I don't live in London, but I don't really understand why 10 million Londoners just don't get in their cars and drive in and not pay the fines. Just because if everybody acted together, just peaceful civil disobedience, then that collective group should not be broken. You know, they're going to put everybody in ulez jail. I don't understand why people are continuing to put up with this nonsense. People are just being coerced into smaller, colder, hungrier lives. There is no other outcome from net zero than millions, billions of people dying. You know, they talk about the fear about the climate changing. Climate changes, that is without a shadow of a doubt. That's what climate is actually. That is climate. It's change. But as it changes, we need more energy. We need access to more cheap, available, reliable energy, because that is what will enable the poorest billions to cope. On every continent, it's cold that kills people, not heat, by a huge margin. Fossil fuels keep people warm in the cold. Air conditioning keeps people cool when it's hot. A loss of life to extreme weather has gone down by 90% because we have had the energy to cope in the past century. And that energy has come from fossil fuels. There won't be a tree left on Earth. If people have nothing to rely upon for heat and cooking but wood, there won't be a tree left. It's insanity. It is a suicide note for the world. And the sooner people act together collectively to push back against these petty dictators, the better.
Yeah, petty dictator. What a perfect description of Sadiq Khan, the failed London mayor, Neil Oliver. So
right, there you go, guys. There you go. 15-minute city. And you heard him say there, people will die of starvation because of ulez, which is all turns going to bring in the 15-minute city, which could end up being a reality. The way things are going at the moment is a much higher likelihood of 15-minute city becoming reality. 15-minute ghetto, you know, it's called there. So there you go. Global warming is just a scam. To bring in this 15-minute city, to bring in the ulez. And he wants to expand it out of London. He wants the whole country, the whole of the UK, to be covered by ulez. People will lose their jobs. People can't afford to buy right up-to-date modern cars. We've got the cost of living crisis. People having trouble running what vehicles they've got, let alone to be able to afford to buy a brand new car. People can't do it. People can't afford it. People are going to end up without the fossil fuels, which keep you warm in the winter and keep your fans going in the summer to keep you cool. People will die, as you heard on that clip, news clip. And he was right. Everyone needs to get into their cars and just go to London and don't pay the ulez. I said it time after time in videos, the whole country needs to stand up with one voice. Get in your cars and just go to London. Don't pay your ulez charge. They're not going to find every single person. They're not going to put every single person into ulez prison. You're going to have absolute thousands of people to deal with, all in one go. They are trying to control our lives. They are trying to cull the population. If you don't die of food starvation because you can't go to your supermarket because you've got to pay a £12 ulez charge to go shopping, which takes that £12 out of your shopping money. People that have been forced from their ordinary benefits over to universal credit are starving. They can't afford to pay their rent and pay their energy bills and buy their food. They're hitting us in our pockets in every which way they can to make it harder for us to survive, make it harder for us to pay our rent, to buy our shopping, to survive. People are getting ill, people are dying because of everything that's going on. Everything that's going on at the moment is designed for one thing. It's to make our life an absolute misery and to make us ill. And a few of us, yes, will die. This is what they want. Cull the population and control those that are left. 15-minute city, you heard it on the news clip. I shall leave it there. You make your own minds up. You've just seen that on GB News. The only news channel on mainstream news that will tell you the truth. You'll also find it on alternative news media. You will find this story everywhere. With the ulez and the 15-minute cities. Be safe, guys. Like and subscribe.